So hi there, Tanya from my page Botanically and Alchemy of Soothing Botanic Ingredients, and I'm coming from a different environment today. Last week I did mention to you guys that I'm traveling on the road. It's been a bit of a family thing for an entire weekend and a week so far. Found a little bit of a quiet space, a beautiful quiet space. We're staying with family in Onrus. And it's really beautiful here. Yesterday it was so cold and rainy. I love Cape Town weather, or the cold and the rainy weather. And today the sun has come out and it's a beautiful day outside. I wish I could have my back to the sea and you could actually see the sea. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to hear it. It's quite loud. But obviously then the backlight is so white you can't actually see anything, albeit like a black silhouette. So I had to change around in the room. But it really is beautiful here. It is just so relaxed. So welcome today. I'm going to be talking about one of our new essential oils in the South African market. And it's not really a new oil if you think about it. It's actually completely ancient. So the oil we're going to chat about today is myrrh. And this is also one of these essential oils that are actually steam distilled from the resin of the myrrh tree. So it's the Commiphora myrrha tree. And they actually have to make slits or basically cut. And that's why it's so incredibly important that you actually purchase an essential oil from a company who you trust, who are growing these trees sustainably, and that they are not over tapping, because otherwise you're going to kill the tree, which is not a good thing. So today we're going to be chatting about this beautiful oil, and you know it comes from biblical times. It's a really ancient oil, and I'm not going to get into detail with that today. I think that's a completely different class. What I want to talk about today are the top uses. Because it's just been introduced into our market, it's a fabulous essential oil, timing wise, because we are moving into winter. And I think this essential oil is going to be incredibly beneficial for our skin health and supporting good hydration. Because if you live, okay, now I'm near the sea, which is very hydrating compared to Pretoria, where I drove from a couple of days ago. But in winter, when things become very much drier in the northern provinces in South Africa, obviously we do need a little extra support, especially for our skin area. I know myself, I have to sleep with a humidifier, with a diffuser next to my head, even through summer, because I'm quite sensitive to the dry air. And in winter it becomes particularly dry. So I always need a little bit of extra hydration during the winter months. I love preparing my own home moisturizer for my skin. So in winter I do have a tendency to add a little bit more shea butter, which makes it a little bit more luxurious. It's more waxy as well, so it's very hydrating, and I definitely add myrrh. So let's talk about this beautiful essential oil today and the reason why it is so beneficial for our skin. So talking about the skin first, ancient history basically tells us that the mummies were embalmed using myrrh, and they've now done some scientific research, and they now know why this myrrh is actually so good at embalming, and it's because of the chemical constituents that are in there. So cuisine, which is one of the chemical constituents, very good for rehydration, and then some of the other chemical constituents in there are incredibly antibacterial. So because of the antibacterial benefits of this product or what the resin that they used, they didn't distill essential oils back in the day like we do today, but the beautiful properties were present in the myrrh already. It's incredibly antibacterial, and that is probably why it worked so well when they did the embalming with it. All right, so the top properties are that it's anti-inflammatory, so really good for discomfort in either the joints and the muscles. It's got, as I said, antibacterial properties, but it's also antifungal. Also carminative, so really calming and soothing, and also an expectorant. So it has actually been used quite extensively in history for respiratory system support. So you can see quite an amazing essential oil, considering that it's coming from a tree and it's been used for so many hundreds and hundreds of years. So I think one of the big ones that most people are very fascinated about is the good gum health that you do get from using myrrh. So this is one of those essential oils. I wouldn't be swallowing it necessarily. The food grade ones, obviously, there are some indications where you would be able to use it internally, for example, when you want to support the immune system. But I think in supporting good teeth and gum health, it's really good to add a drop or two to your toothpaste when you're brushing your teeth, and then afterwards you can spit it out, so you're not going to be swallowing it. But it's really good when you're trying to support good gum health with low infection rates, and it's just also really soothing because of the properties that it has, especially for the hydration. So everything skin related is going to do really, really well. Also incredibly good for supporting the immune system as well as thyroid function. So it's going to support good thyroid function when you are going to be applying it topically over your thyroid area. Always just add a little bit of carrier oil. Actually, Myrrh is one of those that you probably can add a little bit less diluted to your skin, but because I have sensitive skin, I dilute all my essential oils. No reason for me to oversensitize my skin. Why? There's just no, you don't need to go through that. So I always add a good carrier oil, and on my face I really like to use jojoba. So on the thyroid area, for example, jojoba would also be good, but you could use something like grapeseed oil as well. Even fractionated coconut oil, because it has no flavor or fragrance, so it won't interfere with this particular essential oil. Aromatically, let's talk about the aromatics quickly, because it's actually quite a powerful, not a very pungent oil, but it has got a very distinct fragrance to it, and it's actually been used quite routinely together with sandalwood, for example, when you need a little help in the bedroom. So it's an incredible oil, for example, to keep next to the bed when you want to use it, and also smells really good in a diffuser, especially if you're going to be starting to add some of the other oils that it blends really well with. So things like frankincense, for example, sandalwood, even neroli smells really, really good with a combination in myrrh. Also, the skin health benefits don't just extend for the hydration. So the chemical constituent that's actually really good for hydrating, especially dried skin. Now, before we carry on, before I mention that chemical constituent, I think myrrh is probably one of those essential oils that helps dehydrated skin the most out of all the oils. And you know what we always say, the flower oils are usually very good for the surface layers, and then the tree or the resin oils usually help the deeper layers of the skin. So here myrrh is going to be incredibly beneficial, specifically when you are suffering from dehydration. And when we get older, most of the fine lines and the wrinkles is actually sometimes due to the dehydration of our skin. So the curzine is the chemical constituent in myrrh that really helps with that. So definitely a good one for under the eye area, for example. So maybe adding a drop or 1 or 2 drops, you don't need more than that in an application, very potent oil, to a couple of drops of good carrier oil, or even your under eye lotion or ointment. You can add a drop or 2 of the myrrh to that, and then apply that by tapping, just slight light tapping underneath the eye, to just boost some hydration back into that very sensitive skin underneath your eyes. There's also a really good cuticle benefit from it. So if you suffer from dry cuticles, and I know some people have dry cuticles because they tend to bite them. I'm one of them. I am one of those people. And even in winter months, so when they start to split and they don't look so healthy, build some wellness back into your cuticles with a really nice DIY home treatment, where you can simply take some shea butter with myrrh and just rub your cuticles with that maybe once or twice a day, especially in winter months. By the way, also really good for cracked heels, because our cracked heels are usually, yes, we do walk around with fist blockies or slops too much in summer. And they definitely dry out my heels. I'm always barefoot or in slops unless I have to go out, and my heels take a hammering in summer. So winter time is definitely when I start applying a lot more care and self-care. So having a nice luscious body butter or heel butter, even just some shea butter with the myrrh applied to your heels every day is a really good tip, especially for winter. So this is also one of those meditative oils. So all the tree oils tend to be very balancing and calming to the emotions. And if you then start thinking about meditative oils, so things that are going to really focus your mind. So before meditation, for example, or any kind of quiet time, before yoga, myrrh is a really good essential oil to be diffusing. You could also just add a drop to your hands, for example, and rub it together, and then cup your nose and inhale and become a human diffuser. And also really good in combination with frankincense. Adding those two together is going to smell really, really good, and help you to focus your mind at the task at hand. clear the mind. Not always. There's always thoughts that pop up, but it's acknowledging them and then letting them go without it regurgitating in your head all the time. And it'll definitely help with that. Also, a really good oil when you're feeling slightly sad or over anxious. So because of the calming properties, it's going to be really good for that as well. And then emotionally, when we start looking at myrrh, it's really good to help you move from feeling disconnected to nurtured. So if you think about what it's doing in that emotional side, that's probably also why it's such a good oil to have next to the bed. And it's an oil that is really beneficial in all areas because of the dehydration. So perhaps consider doing a really nice massage for your partner with carrier oil and myrrh. So you're going to have the really good aromatics with that, and then at the same time be hydrating to the skin as well. So two things. No, it's probably going to be more than two things because it's going to have anti-inflammatory benefits as well, by the way. So you can see holistically that myrrh essential oil is going to be really supportive to the body. Right, so we talked about a couple of things in there today, mainly the skin, so integumentary, very good for dehydrated skin. So definitely also add it to your facial moisturizer. It's not just for under the eyes. Very good for the heels, incredibly good for the cuticles. So perhaps if you didn't see the post earlier in the week, why don't you just comment in the comments below, and you can put in their cuticle, and then I'll get that cuticle cream DIY that you can make at home straight to your inbox. So that you can go and start nurturing your nails, especially in winter. All right, so if you do want that cuticle cream recipe, just go and comment cuticle in the comments below. And then because this is from a resin, usually the resins are slightly safer when applied topically, so not as heavy dilution required, for example, compared to a hotter or a more sensitive oil. But definitely, in my opinion, I'm always going to dilute with a good carrier oil. And just on a side note, if you are going to be using it for gum and teeth health, myrrh actually means bitter. So good luck with that one. I like to combine my myrrh, for example, with a peppermint drop or with a wild orange drop even when I do coconut oil pulling, because it's really good for the gums, the oil pulling obviously, and then adding beneficial oils like peppermint, for example, which is really good in freshening breath, but also against some of the organisms that we find in our mouths. Really supportive in keeping your mouth very cleansed and clean. And then myrrh is definitely going to help in there. So combine myrrh, because it is so bitter, with maybe one or two of your other favorite oils during your oil pulling. Or if you don't like oil pulling, I know there's a friend of mine that says she always like seriously gags when she does the coconut oil pulling, then just try adding a drop, for example, to your toothpaste. So really an amazing oil. It smells really good. It's a very earthy sort of, I'm going to say, resiny smell. We used to dance in ballet dancing when I was still a ballet dancer. We used to make our shoes, our ballet shoes, less slippery by stomping on some resin on the floor, and that powder that comes from stomping the resin actually goes sticky. So and then it binds to the leather part of your bottom of your ballet shoe, and then you don't slip as much. So then you can dance really well on quite slippery floors and not make a bum of yourself by falling. So it's got that resiny smell, and I think all the resins smell quite similar when they're dry, but when you have the essential oils that have been steam distilled from them, they actually are quite different, variable smells. So always just combine it with something. If it's too medicinal for your liking, combine it with some of your favorite oils, like for example neroli, even sandalwood together with myrrh is really beautiful, and frankincense. Frankincense in a diffuser is absolute magic. Yeah, 1 or 2 drops, go sparingly, but it's going to have all those medicinal benefits. So thank you for joining today to learn a little bit more about myrrh. It's a new oil in our market, so hope you can get yours soon, so you can start enjoying the benefits of hydrating your skin before winter has set in, so that you don't have those nasty cracked heels that can become so very sore. All right, see you guys all next week, Thursday. For my next one, it'll be a live this time. It won't be recorded. I am still busy traveling, so didn't want to risk actually trying to do a live in the car, but I will be live again next week, Thursday, so see you then. Cheerio. Bye-bye.